Hey girl, it's Raya Maurelle, and today's video is all about money. How to budget, how to save, and a little bit on how to grow your money as a student. And I've been wanting to film this video for a very long time now, especially because over the quarantine, I've uploaded I think 4 or 5 hauls. And the last thing I want you guys to think is that all I do is spend my money, because of course that is not a great example, and we want to be good examples here. So the whole spending without saving, that was 2018, 2019 Raya. We don't know her. We've changed. So today I'm going to be talking about 3 main things, 3 topics. Number 1, how I budget, so my personal budgeting rule. Number 2, how I save and grow my money, so banks, investments, all that fun stuff. And number 3, how I track my money. So I'm going to share with you guys my personal money tracker template. And towards the end, as a little bonus, we'll do a quick Q&A, since you guys did ask me some money questions on Instagram. So hopefully I can answer them and give you guys some tips. Wow, she's a financial advisor. Actually, no, important disclaimer to make. I am not a financial advisor. I am not even a business major. And I've actually never taken a business class. Don't click out. I hope that me mentioning that doesn't completely destroy my credibility, but I hope that that encourages you that you do not have to be a business major. You do not have to be a money genius to start handling your money well. Before we begin and talk about money, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I would love to have you be a part of our little family. So make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it to get notified every single time I post a video, Saturday 2 p.m. What was that? Why did I do handguns? I don't normally do that. I'm sorry. Up until I'd say my freshman year of college, saving was not a priority of mine, but I am here to tell you now, as an older and slightly wiser version of my past self, I encourage you all to start saving no matter how young you are, because number 1, you do not have any financial responsibilities yet, because I'm guessing that most of us watching this video, our parents provide for all of our needs, which is why this time I think is the best time for us to save, because you can allocate even more of your money towards savings. And number 2, it's best to build that habit now. One of my biggest reasons as to why I did not save for the longest time is because I thought I'm not earning that much money, or literally the only money I get is the allowance from my parents. So even if I were to save, it wouldn't really add up to much. But something that I hope I realized earlier is that the more important result or outcome, rather than the money that you save, is actually the discipline and the habit that you build. Because if you start developing that discipline and habit even while you're young, when you do get older and start earning more, saving and budgeting, it'll be second nature to you, and trust me, that is going to save you from a lot of financial trouble in the future. So that's my little spiel on why I think that you should continue watching this video. No, just kidding. Why you should start saving no matter how young you are right now. So now let's talk about budgeting. So budgeting is basically just dividing and allocating your money, usually into 3 different piles. So you have your needs, your wants, and your savings. And why is it important to budget? Why do I budget? Honestly, my main reason is that it prevents overspending. This is the big reason why I wish that I developed that discipline and habit of saving when I was younger, because once I started earning from YouTube, I would literally wipe my bank account clean. Every single time a YouTube check came, I would spend it all. So to me, budgeting is extremely important. There's actually this quote about budgeting that says, budgeting is not about restricting what you can spend, but it gives you permission to spend without guilt and regret. And I need that. I need the shopping without guilt and regret. So if you are thinking of budgeting, then I suggest you come up with a budgeting rule. The most common budgeting rule is the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes to your savings. Coming up with your budgeting rule is very personal. It varies from person to person depending on your financial situation and your priorities, so do not feel pressured to adhere to this rule or even my budgeting rule. My only tip is, when you do create a budgeting rule, make sure to stick to that, because there are going to be times when you're like, actually this month I kind of want to buy a new bag, or this makeup palette just launched, so I think this month I'm just going to put 5% into savings. Girl, don't do it. Don't do it, girl. It's not worth it.
Girl, don't do it. It's not worth it.
My budgeting rule is 70-20-10. 70% goes to savings, 20% goes to wants, and 10% goes to tithes and offerings. So now how does it work? What does it look like in action? When I budget, I see to it that it happens immediately. As soon as money enters my bank account, it is immediately divided and transferred into different bank accounts. And I actually read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the author says that the difference in philosophies between a rich man and a poor man is that the rich invest their money and spend what's left, while the poor spend their money and invest what's left. Of course, that's a generalization, but that just reminds me that if you actually want to take savings seriously, then that needs to be the first thing that you do. For me, since I don't have the best discipline and I am easily tempted, my mom is actually the one who handles my money. As a YouTuber, I have 3 sources of income. Number 1 is Google AdSense. Number 2 are affiliate links, so commissions. And last are sponsorships. Speaking of sponsorships, we do have a sponsor in today's video, so thank you so much, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with literally thousands of inspiring classes for you to choose from. Since we're talking about money already, a new Skillshare class that I'm taking is this Investing 101 class. To be completely honest, I barely know anything about investing, so I was so happy to discover that Skillshare has classes on this as well. I definitely recommend this class for those of you who want to learn about the basics of investments and the stock market. And aside from the more serious business classes, Skillshare also offers classes on animation, film, graphic design, illustration, and many, many more. So if you want to subscribe for a whole year of amazing classes taught by industry professionals, it costs only less than $10 a month. But if you want to dip your toes in the water, try out some classes first, you can use the link in my description to get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So make sure to click that link so you can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity by taking as many classes as you want on Skillshare. Now back to the video. So once any check is deposited in my bank account, whether that's from Google AdSense, affiliates, or sponsorships, 70% goes to bank account number 1. Bank account number 1 is my savings account, and this one is not enrolled to internet banking, it's not enrolled to mobile banking, it does not have a debit card, and the only person who has access to it is my mom. Then she transfers 20% to bank account number 2. Bank account number 2 is my spending account. But of course, just because I can take money out of that account doesn't mean that I have to spend it all, and that is something that I think I've really gotten better at. So that's just a tip. Just because you can spend all your money doesn't mean you should. And then she takes the remaining 10% for tithes and offerings. Now we're moving on to saving and growing your money. So we're gonna focus on bank account number 1, the 70%. Before, actually, I did not really care to invest or grow my money, but then I later on realized that it's kind of a waste if I just leave my money in a bank when it does have potential to grow. And I was mainly scared to take my money out of my bank account because I thought that all investments were high risk, but that is not the case at all. There are so many different types of investments, and the investments that I make are the very low risk ones because I am just not a courageous person. And I'm not going to talk about investments too much because, as I mentioned, I am not the most knowledgeable about investments. So I'm just going to quickly enumerate, I guess, the types of investments that I have. Number 1 is a time deposit. A time deposit is essentially like a bank account, except you lock your money in. So when you put your money into a time deposit, you are not allowed to touch it for however many years that you decide on. And the good thing about time deposits is that the interest rate is significantly higher than a regular bank. I just have a regular BDO bank account, and the interest rate of that account is literally 0.125%. So whenever you store your money in a bank, you really should not expect it to grow because you're gonna get like the tiniest amount. But for my time deposit, the interest rate is 6%. 6%, that is significantly higher than my 0.125% for my bank account, and my time deposits are only locked in for 1 year. If I took a 5-year time deposit, then the interest rate would be 8%, but I'm just not ready for that type of commitment, that long-term commitment. Other investments that I literally know nothing about are, I think, mutual funds, UITF. Another investment that I'm currently planning on getting is insurance. And for the past, I think, 3 weeks, my parents and I have been consulting just to try and find the perfect type of insurance investment for me. So the money bank account number one, my savings account, it just grows, and once it's big enough to put into a time deposit, then it gets put into a time deposit, and also some of the money gets put into an investment and then later on insurance. But yeah, those are the main ways that I grow my money. It's probably not the smartest way because I know that there are people out there who can probably grow my money to maybe like 10 times the amount that I am currently growing it at. But to me right now, my main priority is really just security and safety rather than like growing it, because again, I am a scaredy cat. Now we're moving on to how I track my money. So if you guys watched my what's in my iPad video, I showed you guys my money tracker notebook on GoodNotes. And as you guys know, my iPad broke, but I was very happy to find out that the GoodNotes app is actually available for the iPhone. So at least I was able to screenshot my money tracker template. So here is my money tracker record from July. Okay, because this is the last one that I have recorded on my iPad. So I list down every single one of my expenses. By the way, I just have to point out, this is not how much money I spend every single month. It was just that this month was the month that I bought my iPad. That immediately is like 60K. This was not a great time for Raya's bank account. This was one of the beginning times of my money tracking journey, which is why there are so many expenses that say no record, because when you go to your BDO app, you can see how much money you spent, but it doesn't show you where you spent it on, hence the many no records. So what I do now, as soon as I make a purchase, I immediately write it down so I don't forget. So the top part, that's where I write down all my expenses. At the bottom, that is where I enter my income, and there are already 3 columns for Tights, Bank 1, and Bank 2. And then on the next page, I have my credit card template. So that is my money tracking template. Now we're just gonna do a quick little Q&A. I'm gonna try and answer some of your questions. Is student credit card a good idea? So should you get a credit card? I wanna say that you do not need a credit card, but I feel like that is just very hypocritical of me because I do use a credit card regularly. I would suggest that you don't, because it can be very tempting to just swipe but again, very hypocritical of me. So what I will say is, it is okay to have a credit card as a student as long as you be smart about it. And number 1, set a limit for yourself. So for me, my dad actually set a limit on my credit card. So even if, let's say that I swipe and don't really think about it, there is a time when I reach a certain amount when the swiping just won't work anymore. So I definitely suggest that you ask your parents to put a credit limit on your credit card, just so that in case you do end up on a swiping binge, you don't spend more than you can pay for. Another credit card tip, make sure to pay your credit card bill as soon as you receive it. Pay it on time, because if you do not pay it on time, girl, they will charge you interest, and that is how credit card companies earn money, and that is how people get into debt, which means that even if you're using a credit card, do not spend money you do not have. So those are my main tips for credit cards. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, if you guys stayed till the end. I know this is like a different video, like this is the first video I've ever made about money, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want more money, saving, budgeting videos, let me know. I definitely want to make like an investment 101 video in the future, but I definitely have to collab with someone who is actually knowledgeable about it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next Saturday, 2 p.m. Bye, girl!